Welcome back to the Starship Rift Podcast. This is technically episode 5. So that's awesome. But it is also a new season. You'll notice the setting has changed and the people have changed. So I would like to introduce everybody once again. To my right, this is
Roman Saldivar.
Roman Saldivar. If you've seen the first 4 podcasts, you are familiar with Roman Saldivar. I'm Mike Woods. You'd probably be familiar with me too, but you might not be familiar with this magnificent person here. This is Michael Trevino. Go ahead and introduce yourself instead of me doing it for you.
Thank you so much. I am Michael Trevino, like Mike Woods has just said. I'm a longtime fan of this arcade, and I've been coming here for many, many years. I love the scene, and I love kind of everything around it, so I'm just excited to be here and happy to be talking about it.
So, Michael, do you have anything that's... what's your arcade knowledge and arcade history?
So my arcade history pretty much starts in the 90s.
Yeah.
I learned everything else kind of growing up. You know, everyone's played the classics and all that.
Sure.
But you know, might not be as thorough as your knowledge of some
No
of those
way.
years. Arcade starts around 90s, really did stick with it, and definitely huge into console games, console gaming, any kind. I even brought my own analog pocket here today because I'm excited about fixed point gate array setups.
I like it.
Floating point gate array setup, excuse me. But no, that's kind of my background on video games. Up until very recently, I had every single issue of GamePro magazine from 1992 to 2009, I think. Yeah, and I was like, I can't. What am I doing with these?
Did your mom find your GamePro stash?
She found my stash under the bed.
Is that what you had hidden under your bed?
And all
Was
the
it like?
magazines
Do you remember? Not 40-year-old virgin. What's the other one? This is 40. So this is 40.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You remember when Leslie Mann's character finds him at the fantasy baseball thing and was disappointed? Do you think your mom I found the stash and she pulls it out and it's like GamePro magazine?
My ex-wife, my dad, somehow everyone having to help me move.
Trevino's like, it's just GamePro. It's like, it's worse. How is this worse?
It's so true.
It's somehow
the
worse.
whole box. They're like, what's in this box? Like, I can't tell you, Dad. No, for real. And he opens it and he's like, you kept these? I was like,
Son,
yeah.
Son,
Nostalgia. It's all nostalgia.
I'm disappointed in you, son.
It's so nice. It was so nice.
It's like, where'd I go
But
wrong?
look, this is when Mario came out, and
Look at this advertisement for, Super Mario Sunshine. They don't make ads like this anymore.
You liked all those anime ads back from the 90s, didn't you?
There were some good ones.
Oh, there were some good ones.
That could be a whole podcast in itself. How many great ads there were?
Oh,
they were
man.
very directed to male 13-year-old
14-year-old.
gamers. Yes,
There's
exactly.
one, I think, for Sega that I can remember very specifically where it was like a woman in bed, scantily
Totally.
clad with blue satin sheets.
Oh, now I have to find that and post this on
It
our
will not be hard
podcast.
to find. It will not be hard to find.
I remember there was one that had little drawings, and it was a kid playing. It said, "Oh, you like playing with your joystick?" He's like, really excited.
There's another one like that, a woman in like an evening dress of some kind. She's
Yes.
like, I wish he would touch me the way he
Yes,
touches that.
I remember that one.
I think it was like a Turbo Graphics.
Okay, so let's mark the time. This is how quick it devolved into 13,
sorry.
14-year-old talk of video games. So
Pro Magazine will do that to you. It's Gateway Magazine.
that's the, there's a big controversy. I guess it's just, I don't know if it's getting played up more now, or it has been for a while, is like sexualism in video games,
Right.
and then how the Western video games are typically made, and they're really, they're adding a little weight to people, and they're making them look look more realistic.
Right.
And then on the Eastern side, they're really against violence, but they're making everyone look like anime characters.
There's
so.
like a underwear hunter series in Japan that's like very popular.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know I know where I stand on these things. I just don't know podcast wise. It might be one we have to talk about in the future for sure. So I think Stellar Blade just came out and that created a lot of controversy.
It's all about who they're gearing these games for. I mean,
Right.
who's the demographic that's going to buy most of these?
I'm telling you, I just think people need to worry about making money, from that standpoint. Who is going to buy the game? So.
They have a rating system for a reason, right?
Right.
So,
I agree.
Same thing. They
agree.
make rated R movies. They rate
I agree.
PG-13.
See?
Watch what you want, and then the ones you don't.
So this podcast is about
Definitely not that.
Censorship.
the fifth censorship and how we love it. Real fly. So This podcast actually is about the 50 best arcade cabinets. So there is an article on i-mockery, the 50 greatest arcade cabinets in video game history. And this is several years old, but obviously the arcade industry is plenty of years old, so have made a really pretty good list. There's some things I agree with. There's some things I think y'all may or may not agree with. We haven't fully talked about that. And there'll be some that, I put as honorable mentions that are just completely missing. Before we get to that, though, I want to go over just kind of arcade news and what's going on in the industry, and also what's going on in our arcade, and what's going on with you guys. So have y'all seen anything, done anything, been to other arcades, seen something you like, didn't like, something new, something old?
I've been working a little bit more on the arcades that I have at home.
Okay.
Really, when I think last time we talked, I was working on jamifying New Net City.
Sure.
And finally went through all that and got it all done. And I was going to put my Naomi in my Blast City.
Oh.
And I blew up the power supply. So
Yes.
Yeah. So
Did it go up in like spectacular fashion, or it was just like a?
It just. And that was it.
Boo.
So not sure if I did anything to it. But I didn't want to buy a new one or a new old stock because obviously it'd probably have the same thing would happen to it after I had it for a week.
Yeah.
But,
So what's your option? What's your
so what I
solution,
did was I actually found a small PC, not a PC, I'm sorry, a small power supply.
Mm-hmm.
I ordered it, went through, rewired it, and I actually integrated it into the old one, and I actually rewired everything into the soundboard and everything. So I really stripped it down to the schematics.
Yeah.
But what's more impressive about it is that I actually ordered all the connectors.
Okay.
Connected everything true connector. So if I was ever selling it, somebody wants to replace it, all they have to do is slide it out, put the new one in there, and everything
So
is
thoughtful.
Yeah, everything is
Nice.
like in a stock mode, so you can just take it out real easy and put everything.
Like, this is trash. Oh, well, he did leave me the
Yeah,
connectors.
hey, there you go.
I'm all right with this.
It's all the way out.
How about you, Trevino?
I've been nerding out pretty hard on Fallout. I recently watched the
Oh.
entire Fallout series, which I
I
thought
wanted to start that.
I think it's excellent.
Really?
Especially if you know
Excellent,
if you,
excellent
If you
show.
know
You've seen
the-
it too.
Yep.
If you
Very
know the
good show.
universe,
Odd man out here.
it's good. Like
Yeah.
I think they
It was-
touch on all the good parts.
It was
of
very well made.
Okay, so you've both
Directed
played
well.
Fallout, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I've never even maybe
oh my
watched
God.
a trailer for Fallout.
I mean,
I could recognize maybe the characters.
Yeah.
So, and asking that, and this will help review this a little bit. I have never played Fallout. Will I love the series?
I think so.
I think you still will like it. I think,
Okay.
especially if you kind of understand the general idea of what Fallout is.
Right.
Yeah, post-apocalypse, you'll figure it out. But there's a lot of special nods to the games, and that got me back into playing New Vegas and heavily modding it. So I've been doing a lot of work with that, and then recently there's been a big movement in the scene for porting N64 games to PC.
Okay.
And having them work fantastically.
Been watching that.
And
Fantastic.
they finally got Majora's Mask working like HD graphics,
Ray
extra
tracing.
features, everything.
Everything.
Like you always used to see those videos of like, here's what Mario would look like if it was in Unreal Engine 5.
Right.
It looks like that in a way. Like
They look fantastic.
So
Really?
I've been working on getting that set up. So just a lot,
Okay.
getting deep into the Fallout universe again, getting deep into modding, and I was already doing this stuff for New Vegas, so I kind of was like, well, let's just try this N64 stuff. And I've gotten a few things working, but I haven't gotten the Majora's Mask stuff going yet.
Gotcha. All right.
You got to pick up Fallout.
Yeah.
Fallout 3 or Fallout 4. I mean, either one is a good one to start off with.
New Vegas.
Yeah.
New Vegas.
New
the best
Vegas.
one.
Gotcha. Oh, well, I will have to test those out
fun, man.
for sure. So let's get to it. Best arcade cabinets in arcade history. I know some just pop in your head. I know you watching at home or listening, you're thinking, oh, I can think of just come off like 10 of them, right? Just like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
So, but I thought we'd just go through the top 50 pretty quick. So we're not here until dawn of tomorrow.
Disclaimer though, before you jump in,
Sure.
These are from i-mockery. So
These are
we wanna
all
make sure that we
i-mockery.
give credits to them.
Yeah,
too.
credit to i-mockery for sure. And I would love y'all to go check out this website. It's i-mockery.com. And then you can go to Google and just type in. I'll put the link in the in the description below, so you can go and pass judgment on some wonderful guy that's put all this together, because there's really
know.
great little descriptions
great
underneath
list.
each one.
Yeah.
It's a great list. You can tell this guy loves these games and really
Or this
thought about
team.
it.
It looks like there was two people, Dr. Boggle and ROG. So shout out to Dr. Boggle and ROG. I love the name Dr.
Dr.
It might
Boggle.
be Dr. Boogle. I think it's Boogie, actually.
Oh, Boogie.
Darn it. What was in the movie Demolition Man? Like, that's a boggle, or what did he say?
I know. I tried to get you get it.
I think I might have. I'm not sure. We'll know in a minute. What was the It's a Boggle? Remember when Wesley Snipes, he's looking like Rodman because he's got his hair colored blonde, and he's going to the Violence Museum, and he actually gets guns from the Violence Museum.
He just takes them.
And
I think Boggle.
I think one of the guys, I think that's a cuss word in the future, is what a boggle, you know? I don't know.
What seems to be your boggle?
My boggle?
So he says that, and it's pretty funny. Anyway, it's Dr. Boogie. I apologize, Mr. Boggle Boogie. Number 50, going down the list here, Space Invaders. Anyone have an argument for Space Invaders or against?
I'm for it. Obviously, it's a great game. You know, I love the deluxe version as well. So
I think that you know, with as many times as we've seen this in arcades and arcades that are just sprawled everywhere,
right.
How could you just not make the list? You know,
so,
even if it's not the greatest arcade, it's probably one of the most.
It's iconic for sure.
Yes. Well, we'll get later into the list, but like there's some games on here I'm like, that's that high? I'm like, Space Invaders is low in my mind.
From a standpoint of unique cabinet. So when I think of arcade cabinets, I mean, there's Pac-Man's iconic, sure, but it's not unique to it. I will say there is one thing that's pretty unique about Space Invaders, and it has that telescoping two-way mirror in it.
Right.
The next one down the list was Crystal Castles. I just think that's a really pretty cabinet.
It's a nice cabinet.
It's a nice cabinet.
It doesn't do anything necessarily different. It does have a trackball. A red glowing trackball, which is pretty cool for the time. But it has a really unique shape to it, and I love all the isometric art inside of it. So, Crossbow?
Never played it. I don't even know if I've seen one.
I've actually played that one time.
Did you like it?
You know, it wasn't working all the way because it was while I was with you, Mike. Do you remember where I played it at?
Oh, no, I don't.
It was at an auction that we went to.
Oh,
it
really?
It was there, yeah.
Huh,
and
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I was trying to play it, and it wasn't acting right.
Oh, darn it.
So I can't give you a full review on it, but I can tell you that I like the concept of it.
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
an XCD game with an actual crossbow as a controller, which that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
That's unique.
I think you walk into an arcade. I know any gun game you usually walk up and play, but you see a crossbow, that is kind of stick out. Number 47 is APB, All Points Bulletin.
I think it's a cool cabinet.
You like it?
I think it's a cool
Okay.
cabinet. I like the look of it. Didn't it used to flash?
Yeah, totally. The marquee is kind of rounded at the top, and it's got the
So I've never
grapes and cherries,
seen it in real life flash. I've only seen it not flashing.
just
so,
glow.
You know, if anyone, no, I've never even seen a light on it, to be honest with you. It was just never functioning at that time, I guess.
So this is the first cabinet, or the first game on here that has a 19-inch medium res monitor, which there's only 5 that I know of. Y'all can correct me in the comments on that, but
Dang.
yeah. So you've got a little transition period between just standard resolution 19-inch monitors and the 25-inch monitor. So right there in that kind of crux of that, they made 5 games, again, off the top of my head, that had that weird, okay, we're not quite medium res, we're not quite 25-inch yet. Okay, well, now we're medium res, but we're still 19-inch. So it turns out to be APB, NARC, Championship Sprint, Paperboy, and Tubin off the
Nice.
top of my head.
I think I could have named Narc because I remember you talking about that.
That was a pain.
Yeah, that's
Back
the
up.
only one that I knew of.
So it's a real pain because you only got 5 cabinets to pull that chassis from or what. You can figure it out. There's ways around it and whatnot, but a medium res 19-inch monitor is a rare monitor at this state. Number 46 is Tapper. Now, this is a unique cabinet.
I think it's a little bit low. on that
Low,
list.
right? I think it should be
Yeah,
high.
okay. Amen, brother. That's what I'm talking about.
I love
right?
Tapper.
Tapper, like the bar simulator that is Tapper, has 2 little tap handles. And also it had real brass rail and the little brass cup holders at the end. It looked, I mean, we have ours sitting at the end of the bar. It almost looks like a weird, fun extension of the bar.
Belongs
They made a root beer tapper to make it a little more, instead of Budweiser tapper, they made it a little more kid-friendly. It took off a lot of the really cool brass pieces, though. They were making them cheaper, I guess, at that point. So
A little fun fact: if you play one of the Fallout games, you can play right off the bat. You can play Tapper in the game.
Yep.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
That was
There's
really
some
cool.
little hollow games. Is that what they're called?
Yeah,
cards?
HoloVids or something like that.
And you
Yeah.
can actually play old school games inside that game.
I even loved the faux wood grain on the sides of this. I loved the faux stained glass window that kind of reminded you of those big Tiffany lamp, stained glass lights and stuff.
I just
really
the
cool cabinet.
The game is super fun.
The game's fun.
The game is great. It's got great audio. Like
it does. It does.
I just think that it's like when you look at people always say, "Hell, back in the day there was good quality, and then it kind of went downhill." This is one of those examples of things that were built really well. It's actually a really well built arcade. It's not like it was just stickers slapped all over it.
Yeah,
it was hardware put onto it.
It just looked like it had a lot of thought put into it, So probably didn't end up in many Chuck E. Cheese's back then.
Yeah.
That's probably why they made Root Beer Tapper.
No.
So it was probably.
And if I'm not mistaken, they have a upgrade to that where you can have the Simpsons.
Oh, they do. There's a
so you
mod
have
for the
Simpsons.
Simpsons.
That's awesome.
So it's like Moe's Tavern.
Oh,
Tavern.
that is so cool.
That's really cool. I've seen that in the wild too. I like that. Number 45 is the Fonz, and I've never played it.
I've never even heard of it till going over this list.
Yep, I've never seen it or heard of it.
Like, what makes this cabinet like?
It has, let's see, there are many motorcycle racing games out there, but none of them were based on the memorable character from Happy Days, the Fonz. Handlebar controls functioned exactly like a real motorcycle. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's the Fonz. So I don't know. It's a 1976 Sega classic. So
About it. Wow.
that's why they put it at number 45. I've never played it. So
Never
if you've played the Fonz, give us a comment below. Tell us how great it is and how wrong we are.
You can
I'd
just
love it.
slap it on the side and it starts working.
Wow.
That's a great reference there.
You're like, this thing never makes any damn quarters. They've all figured out the slap on the side. That's a great reference. I love that. Good job. Two Tigers is number 44. Have y'all played Two Tigers?
No, this is another
have
one
not.
that kind of like. Is it tanks?
They're planes.
No.
So there's a ship and there's little planes. You kind of bomb the ship and there's other planes coming along. You do these like little swirls. The yokes on it look like there's two of them on each side and they look equivalent of a Tron stick, but the yokes are Tron sticks.
Double Tron
There you go.
sticks.
Right.
So there's four Gorfer Tron style sticks or Mad Planets, I guess you would say, as well. Turbo had this game. I don't know if he still does.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
but
awesome.
he
That's a
had the
good kid.
conversion. You know what they converted though?
What?
Another game much
Battlefield.
Tron
Really?
got factory converted to Two Tigers a lot.
That's
so.
crazy.
Was it the same cab style, same everything, or is it
The
closest thing to
I
it?
always thought it was just a Tron conversion, but looking at this picture here, it looks like it had a dedicated cabinet. Now I did put an asterisk next to this one just because it has the smallest not prescription either, description.
There you go.
As the smallest one, and it's just called Bazooka, and it has an actual. I mean, it has a bazooka as the controller.
That's awesome.
And that's amazing. And we talked about peripherals when our Home Ports podcast and how peripherals really make some games and it doesn't port well if you had a gun in the arcade and you have a joystick or a gamepad at home. On this one, it says the game name Bazooka. Your controller a bazooka. Need I say more?
Yeah.
I haven't played Bazooka, but I want one.
That looks
I don't
so
care how it
awesome.
plays. I just want a bazooka in my arcade.
Oh God! Amazing.
just so you could say you
I'm gonna
have
have to do a little research on that one because I want to see how it looks. What I mean, I guess it's just a light shooter.
How many? I don't know. It almost looks predates
Yeah.
that. I'd have to do a little more research.
It's made
on
out of
that.
iron. It really shoots shells out of it.
Right. Can y'all think of any other gun games that kind of rank up there? I mean, they may be lower on this list.
All right,
May run
so
into them.
I do have one that I was going to run here, but you go ahead and go first.
All right, I'm gonna because I didn't see it on this list, and if it is on this list and I missed it,
I think in my head I know what it is.
Well, okay, well it's a gun game, but it's a newer one.
Yep.
Okay.
Mine too.
Time Crisis. There's
that's not-
no Time Crisis games or cabinets
That's a
on
great
here,
one.
and I think Time Crisis is a fantastic cabinet.
Yeah.
It's big, it's loud, and it's. I mean, if you found the one that had like the pedestal set up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh man, so you put the pedal down to go in a cover. I couldn't believe that wasn't. on
That's
this
so
list.
cool. And it's not on this list. You're absolutely right.
And one that's not on this list that I actually really love this game. You have it here too. So, but Silent Scope.
That's the one I
Oh,
was thinking
that
in
was
my head.
also
What? You know, I don't know any other game that
see it
you
from
look
here.
into the gun and you actually see another
a
screen.
secondary
That's so cool.
screen.
It is.
The monitor could actually be totally out on that game,
Yep.
and you could still play it
Correct.
because you're looking through the scope.
Just like pretend you're playing at night with a night vision scope.
That's right.
And that cabinet, that is an attractive
It's like-
cabinet.
That is a very, very, very nice game.
Oh, it's eye catching.
It's really
so
cool.
unique, and that's why I'm like part of my. We can talk about the end. I definitely feel like there was a date cutoff they had for this list.
they might have.
Yeah.
Where they're like nothing
they feel
past
like, oh,
95.
yeah, It's
Right.
1992. We're done.
Yeah.
So anyway, Bazooka looks cool. If anyone's played it, tell us your experience, and we think it looks neat, and I'd love to find one. The next one is a classic, and I think it's a good one. It's a Super Off-Road.
I love off-road.
Ivan Stewart's Super Off-Road, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, that's right. The branded.
Yeah, it's got 3 steering wheels, 3 pedals, nitro button. Yeah, so you can hit the nitrous and make your little, and it's kind of an overhead view of the track with the trucks. If you get the track pack later, I think it adds like maybe some dune buggies and stuff like that. But it's Iron Man Ivan Stewart. This used to be in my CC's. Play this at CC's.
Love this game, man.
No, pretty cool game.
The only racing game where you could actually reach over and mess with the person.
Oh yeah, you can like turn their wheel and crash them like you're done.
Or hit their nitro button. And
you used my side right into a wall. Yeah, it was really fun. You could
CC's Pizza Inn was at my Pizza Inn.
It was at your Pizza Inn. Okay, yeah, you could. You upgraded your truck after every match. You got a little money,
tires,
spend a little money.
nitro.
Do you know there's we're talking about when we're talking about sexuality in video games at the beginning of this, there is an option in that to put the girls in bikinis or not in the settings.
They were always in bikinis every time
Yeah.
I played.
Well,
Why wouldn't they be? You know.
We don't believe in censorship here. It's Starship. So anyway, so yeah, I thought that was a fun. I always love really neat options in the dip switches or soft dips or hard dips in the programming to take girls in or out of bikinis. It's just like someone's like, well, someone's probably going to get upset, so we at least gotta give them the option. So Battlezone would be number 41. Anybody got any arguments over Battlezone?
I played it. You had the eyepiece, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
totally.
So you could tell this came out pre-COVID.
No joke. Yeah.
Got a story about that. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm just saying. I remember enjoying it. It was very novel at the time. I remember it plays pretty rough, but
Yeah. So we have one, and it's not out yet. Actually, I have multiples of these. I just want to kind of fish them all together and get the best one.
Right.
But it's kind of a periscope look, and
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm thinking really periscope. It has actually control. Wow, it has controls here, like the dual joystick. So it has tank controls, like forward, back, and left and right. But you put your face on it. When you go to the National Video Games Museum, they had it there, and we went right after COVID. It was actually one of the first places. Me and Greg went. We have a video on YouTube about it, and they had it shut down. Had a sign on it. So
Yeah, please don't use it.
Don't spread your COVID
Dang.
on our eyepiece here. Number 40. I have never played this game, but I've seen it multiple times. It's called Exterminator. Have y'all seen this cabinet here?
I have not seen that cabinet. I haven't even played it either.
I've not seen this cabinet. It looks wild.
It's pretty neat. I think it has a hand. It's one of those games where you kind of see just a hand that's cut off right here, and it's like smashing bugs or shooting. I think you shoot from your finger, like finger guns.
That's cool.
But it shoots bugs and whatnot, and you're an exterminator, and there's all kind of bugs. But the cabinet's really cool because it's shaped like a house, so that's neat.
Yeah, the art on that is awesome. I think that's pretty striking.
Title Fight. Anyone play Title Fight number 39?
I actually have played Title Fight.
Have you?
Yeah, I actually played that. I can't even remember where it was. I think it was in another arcade. I can't remember where it was at though.
I think
a long time ago.
Saw this in Grapevine Mills Mall, but it was one of those games that cost like $1.25 to play.
Oh, yeah, it might have been a little more expensive at the time.
Yeah, and I did not play.
Do you think that was it at the old arcade that was in Grapevine?
Yeah, when it used to have like the
What was that
multi-level
called?
GameWorks?
Yeah, GameWorks.
Yeah,
That's where
there
I
you
think
go.
I might have saw it.
Oh, it looks like a GameWorks game.
Totally.
It totally does. So we had not the putt-putt current. Well, yeah, actually the current one there that's Alley Cats now.
Yep.
When that was putt-putt, just putt-putt back in the day, they had this. So this one has basically 2 joysticks on each side, and they have kind of a hand guard.
Yep.
So
So your
and
hands
you
will slip
used
off.
to punch. A lot of these got broke just because the controls on them were like that. But anyway, it has the dual screens, a lot like the Royal Rumble over there, which I think that's a pretty unique cabinet with the 2
Totally. Yep.
screens. It looks just like that cabinet. As a matter
it
of fact,
actually
it's
does.
made by Sega. It's the same cabinet
Yeah,
now that I'm
definitely
looking
it
at
is.
it. It's identical.
As different bezel.
Yeah, even the bezels are the same. They're just different color.
Yep.
So yeah, it's that cabinet, guys. It's right there. So I'm sorry. Anyway, so that's Title Fight. Next one here is Smash TV. This is a dual stick control game.
Awesome
Number 38.
game.
Great game.
Love it.
You can't get any better than Smash TV.
It's
Yeah.
hard to beat. I love Smash TV.
A Smash TV is a classic. This came in a 25-inch and a 19-inch. The 19-inch is a little more rare. That's what you're seeing a picture of right there. But that is the control panel for the 25-inch one. The 25-inch monitor had a little Williams logo on the speaker grill at the top.
Yep.
So that was pretty neat. That's a great game. This is
that came out post Running Man, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say this is reminiscent of Running Man. Good job, buddy. That's exactly right.
This is the original quarter eater back from the day for me.
So good,
when I was young, you just had to keep putting them in there.
So fun stuff is fun things about this. You won. It will date you playing it because you win toasters and VCRs. Remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And it would say stuff like "big money, big prizes." I love it. Yeah, right? There's kind of quotes from it. And then the other thing was it promised the pleasure domes.
Oh yeah.
You heard? So I think if you beat it, I'm going on some old records here in my head. If you beat it, it says, "Oh, kind of play it again. Maybe this time you'll collect all the keys and get to the pleasure domes." and there was no pleasure domes. They never put it in.
That's great.
I think someone's made some ROM hack later on that
Right.
actually adds their pleasure domes, so you can put it on your board
I
and make
love
it
the
to the pleasure
look
domes.
of this cabinet too. Also, all the references, like the I'd buy that for $1 guy.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd buy that for $1.
So good, man. Yeah, that maybe right where it needs to be. Couldn't hurt if it was a little higher.
Yeah, 38. I like it. Okay, next one down. 37 is Laser Ghosts. Anyone play Laser Ghosts?
I've never. The setup looks cool,
Like the cabinet looks amazing.
but I have no idea.
No
Ever played
idea
this?
either. I have not.
I've never
It
played
looks
this
like
either.
it's a 2-player game, side to side, but kind of split, almost like the WWF cabinet over here.
But it's a 3-player game.
Is it?
Is it 3-player?
Yeah.
Oh my God! It is 3-player. I think you got one guy standing up and 2 people seated.
Yeah, like
So-
1 and 3 are seated, and 2 is up high. Like, what a weird. It's so Dad can play, I guess. With the,
Yeah, that's a great question.
Sit down, kids.
What are other 3-player shooting games? You know, RevX has a version. I've just seen it in the auction.
oh my
3-player
gosh!
RevX.
Isn't there like a crazy high octane one that's like in a downtown area? I'm trying to. It's like I don't know. I'll have to look it up, and if I find it, I'll let you know so we can maybe
Okay.
put it up. But yeah, that's the only other one I can think of is this one that is like at the AMC in downtown Fort Worth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was like Commando Raid or something. You know, super generic name, but it had 3 giant guns on it.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beast Busters is one. We have that.
Oh,
the
yeah.
3-player Beast Busters. Yeah, that's it. I haven't seen. I don't remember what was really unique about it. The cabinet looks cool, but I don't have any nostalgic value for it because I've never seen it. So.
Right.
I mean, I couldn't even tell. I mean, it looks like a shooter.
Looks like a shooter to me. Number 36 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is
What is
the
that game?
Yeah.
never heard of this,
I
right?
don't know.
Yeah. So this would be the introductory of the Konami cabinet, right?
Right.
I don't know which one came first, if it was Simpsons or Sunset Riders or the Turtles game. But the Turtles game had a mono speaker, so it makes me think it was the first one because everything else was stereo after Turtles. I could be wrong on that. So it says, if you're at the arcade with both this game and The Simpsons, you had a tough choice ahead of you where to drop the coin into. But everyone wanted to play this game, and it was hugely popular. And it's that quintessential 4-player game.
Ninja Turtles was that for me. You know?
Yeah, it was so. I mean, pizza. Da-da-da-da-da. I can just still hear the music.
Totally, yeah. 35 is Stun Runner, and this is a cool cabinet, man.
That is an awesome cabinet.
Yeah, I like Stun Runner. If you haven't seen it, you kind of sit down on a elongated with the yoke that's kind of the Star Wars yoke.
Seminal to my childhood. This game.
This screams putt-putt right here.
Yeah.
Oh, is that a putt-putt game for you?
I played it when we were at putt-putt and loved it.
I had a friend named Nathan that's really like this game. I love the polygonal, course you're on.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of go up the side of the wall.
So I remember. So this is a pizza end game for me. I remember it reminded me. Anytime I'd play Sonic or see Sonic, I'm like, there's those bonus levels where he's like running down the track. I'm like, they stole that.
Oh,
They
that's a
stole
great
that.
point.
They stole that from Stun Runner. It's like Stun Runner's awesome. And then there's moments where you do have to do full loops and stuff. Like, yeah, that's a good game.
So what about number 34, Top Skater? Anyone play a little Top Skater back in the day?
More than you could imagine.
Really?
Yes.
Tell us about. Have you played Top
So-
Skater?
I have played it, but I want to hear the
Let's hear it.
so
What you
this
got?
could be a combo here.
Tony Hawk.
Ooh.
Yeah, Top Skater used to be at Putt-Putt as well. And that was my go-to game.
You worked at
anytime.
Putt-Putt,
I
right?
worked at Putt-Putt.
There you go.
So I got in there. I got to play that for free all the
Truth
time.
revealed.
Oh,
But
sweet.
that game knowing how to do that double kick when you clicked it twice and you do the extra
Yeah.
jumps and going through dude, it was amazing. That game was something that I could jump onto and have fun no
love
matter
it.
what. And the only time that you really want to play 2-player games is if you're actually really playing with someone. But this
Right.
was strictly a 1-player game.
Correct.
You got on this, and it was just amazing. But this was also a companion to another arcade that was just like this. Do y'all remember what it was?
Was it
Was there a skiing one?
Alpine ski.
Yes.
Oh,
See?
cool.
We did
Both of those were amazing, and I would go from one to the other. This is great, but Top Skater was probably my favorite out of all of them.
That one's awesome.
Yeah, I only played it a little bit, and then I remember when I went back, I think it was at this
Putt-Putt right
yeah,
here.
I think so.
Yep.
I think one time I went back and it was like closed down, and I was like, and that's the last I ever saw of it.
So you worked there. Did it break a lot? Because
So-
anything that has a lot of kicking and stomping on, I would
You
imagine.
know, I can tell you that I would never see it down, so
Okay.
I would assume that it was up all the time.
Call me a
But
liar.
yeah. You know, I don't
You're
know.
a really good tech. at your
Then again,
putt-putt.
I didn't work on the inside, and they did have really good techs there that worked in the area, so they would always bring stuff up. Like, anything else, I'm pretty sure it was down a time or two, but how long it was down, I don't know if it was a lot.
I saw this game a few times. Was it more expensive?
I had to
You
be,
played it
'cause
for free. Was it more
big.
expensive?
Yeah.
Oh no, it was.
Yeah.
It was. That
Like
was
a
like
dollar
it was a
minimum.
$1 or $2 game. It was an expensive game.
I may not have had a chance to play it. When I don't remember what year. I'm sure
This was in the 90s.
90s,
Yeah, it's definitely a
mid to late
90s game,
I'd say,
so-
I mean, probably around the time Tony Hawk 1 and 2 got
Yep.
took off. So might even like creep into the 2000s a little bit. But
Is this a Sega game?
Oh, I don't know who made it. I will tell you though, and I don't know if this is in that description, so I didn't
Like
read
it's
much
up
about
in
this.
that left-hand corner. It looks like it says Sega.
Yeah, it does,
You know.
yeah.
Yeah, but I believe that screen wasn't even a CRT. I think it was a
Rear projection.
rear projection
Yeah.
screen on that.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I haven't seen this game in a long time.
Oh, I've actually kept my eyes out because I do want to
you wanna
buy
get you a
Top
Top
Skater.
Skater. We're all going to go to Roman's house and get a Top Skater.
sweet.
Oh, if I was ever buy that, it'd wind up probably in your arcade.
Get our Thrasher magazine.
It'd probably be over here.
Oh, okay.
yeah, see people
I
sign
love
a
it.
waiver before they play.
Look at
the
this guy.
game.
We're such a giver.
Yeah, I know.
Dude.
I love it. So that brings us to number 33, Starship 1. Anyone play Starship 1?
I've never heard of it.
Seen it, never played it.
This looks like a game that may have, we're talking about, it was pretty impressive back in the 70s, but I don't have any nostalgic value for it. I've just never seen it. It might be in I think maybe a Galloping Ghost would have a game
That's a
like this.
Beefy cabinet.
It's
though.
beefy.
It's be-
Beef Stew the Cabinet, Part 1, Starship.
Big.
Starship 1, it would go right in here, darn
There you
it.
go.
I know.
Oh,
I'm
man, that'd be
surprised.
nice.
Okay, this one's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
When I saw this, and this, we've went through these fairly quickly. From Bazooka was the last one on my list. Hang On's the next one here. This is the red Akira bike looking Hang On with the screen mount. So when you turn, the screen went with you.
That's so. I've never seen it in
Really?
the bike.
I have. I've played that.
Yeah,
I've
I
actually
was
played that.
when I saw this in the arcade, I was like, oh my god, the whole
Yep.
thing leaned and the screen leaned, and this is a very Sega thing
Right.
for stuff to move like this. Most innovative cabinets, if you're giving me a company, it's like right off the top of that, I'm going to say Sega.
yeah.
So
One thing that I liked about it was that it was a smaller screen,
Mm-hmm.
but you were focusing and leaning so much that it made it appear like it was such a bigger
Also,
screen because
you're-
it was very immersive
Oh,
when
yeah.
you were playing it.
Looks like you're right up on it.
Yeah, that's what
You
it
are.
was. You're
Yeah.
right up on
I
it.
must have played Super Hang On or something like this because I have memories of playing a Sega Big Red.
Super
bike
Hang
game.
On, they had the same. It had more of a shroud. If I
thought it was
remember.
white, though.
It was white.
Okay, yeah.
You're,
Okay, maybe
you're
I-
both correct.
Okay.
I definitely played.
You
a
both
big
win.
bike
Ding
game.
ding.
But yeah, no, I don't remember it having a screen mount in. That is sick.
It is really cool. I've seen this pop up occasionally. Games like this, anytime there's a little bit of movement, I get a little sketch in an arcade situation because
Right.
kids are wild and parents don't watch them. And I think kids were more fearful of doing stuff to the arcade machines back in the day. And y'all can correct me if you think
Yeah,
I'm wrong.
Freaking arcade
'Cause
owner
you
would come.
Because he could spank you, and then you go home and get spanking too. And he doesn't get in trouble for spanking you or yelling at you. Matter of fact, they'll probably get, hey, here's $1. I'm sorry, my kid's a little monster, and he's gonna be punished for the whole summer. He's never going outside again. Whereas now it's like, oh, we don't care, just destroy all the stuff. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
It's
So
not vintage or anything.
yeah, so I don't know how this would hold up now. And the second reason I don't know if I'd get this is because I'm imagining the base of it is super stinking heavy.
Oh, I bet you it is. It
It's
have
a
to
million
be to be
pounds.
The counterbalance for
I
that.
mean, how heavy is Stun Runner?
Stun Runner's heavy, but I don't think it's as heavy as this because you don't rock on Stun Runner.
This is
This you can
somewhere
actually
between,
lean.
Yeah, you lean. It
something
leans.
You
like
lean.
the kids rides,
Right.
the with a quarter op.
I bet those are really. I know those are heavy.
Yeah, it's
I'm curious, is it heavy or do you bolt it down?
Oh yeah, bolt it to the
you
floor.
must have to bolt
Bust
it.
some concrete.
Yeah.
I love that. Another Sega game pops up at number 31, and it has a little gangster lean to it too. It looks like a helicopter. It's Thunderblade. Y'all play Thunderblade?
No,
played
it looks sick.
That is really cool. And the last time I played it, the last time I saw it in an arcade was when I visited Galloping Ghost. They have it.
For some reason, I thought back in the day, I know it leans
Mm-hmm.
when you go, but
I think
when
so.
you first start, doesn't it feel like it picks up like a couple of inches in the air? I don't
feel like
it
there's
does, but
another.
like a piston that makes you go up,
Gosh.
makes you feel like you're taking off.
We're going to have to find some video of this
Can't remember now.
Thunderblade.
I do know it leans, but I really could swear that when you started at the beginning of the level, it would come up. But
I know
just like,
definitely I feel like you do come up on the screen.
Yeah.
It's been so long since I played this game.
I
It's
know.
a cool game. I wouldn't even know where to put it in
You know
here.
what? Next
It
time I
looks
go
like
to
a little
Chicago,
helicopter.
I'm going to go.
We need
go
to.
and check it out.
We need to. It's like a pilgrimage for us. It's like
you go.
our mecca
There's
to
a
go
game-
to the biggest arcade,
Any
the big
kind of
retro arcade.
cockpit style game, and I believe there's one coming up later. I'm super fired up on. So
Yeah.
it looks like I really like it.
I love that. I love that. Next one, Skydiver. I have
Never
no
played it. never
recollection
seen
of
it,
this.
Never heard of it.
What's the control setup there?
So I think it's parachute rings, so you can
Oh,
kind of work. I have no idea how that works. It looks like they're coming this way, so maybe you pull them. They're on bungees.
78.
Probably just like a tank control. But
Yeah,
just shaped like
yeah. It says
pair handles.
truly unique about this cabinet is the controllers are actual ripcord rings instead of typical joysticks.
You
And if
pull-
you didn't pull the ripcord in time, well, your diver got splattered on the pavement. I want to play this. And then the ambulance was come on the screen and take your diver away.
The Wambulance.
The ambulance.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Anyway, so yeah, it says, I'm sorry. This is their writing. I'm sorry, though, if an actual have a skydiving accident, you don't need an ambulance, you need a hearse. That's pretty good joke, guys.
That
Good
reminds
joke,
me of-
Mr. Boogie.
Yeah,
It reminds me how you never
Boggle.
see bad reviews for parachutes.
That's true.
All 5 stars.
Because if it didn't work,
I landed 5 stars. Next one is absolutely deserving of this list.
Yep.
Just worked on this game yesterday. Paperboy.
I think it's a little bit low on the list, though.
I think it's low.
Yeah, I think it's
Paperboy's
way
an awesome
unique
game.
looking. Whenever you talk, I hadn't even seen one until you brought up yours here.
Right.
Yeah, and I was just like, whoa.
Rare.
Whoa.
It's in the Atari System 2 cabinet, I believe, and which shares with Championship Sprint. And if there's a third, I can't remember what else goes in that, but definitely Championship Sprint and Paperboy in this particular cabinet. So it had a modular. You can remove the marquee, remove the control panel, stick
Change
in
it over.
the next one. Yeah.
Cool.
Man, the controller for it is
Yep.
hard to get and rare. So even if you found a Championship Sprint and you wanted to convert it, which is a 2 steering wheel game, actually, we have one of those too. It's never been out of storage, but it's in there.
But good luck finding the handlebars, huh?
Good luck finding the handlebars. We had a guy that's recreated them, but he's a long. I don't want to talk badly about anyone on the podcast, but you'll have to wait a long time and hope you get them.
He
Took
does
me
it
a
at
long
his
time
own
to get mine.
pace. Works his own.
Very much his own pace. So ours are all chromed out and everything too. As
Dude,
you can
I
see, this
know.
is kind of the original look here. So when you look at ours, it does look
Right.
Shiny.
pretty prestigious.
You know,
Yeah, it's
and
neat.
I don't know if it was done on purpose, but I like the art on that cabinet
Mm-hmm.
because it reminds me of cartoon art out of the newspaper.
So yeah.
you know
Like
what I mean.
comic strip art?
It looks like comic strip art.
So fun fact about the difference in the one that's we see here on the screen just has black on the side. It was just a generic multicolor striping with Atari on the side of it. That way it could be modular. So you
Yeah.
can remove the marquee, move the control panel, boom. Ours, we put whole custom, it's never going to be anything but a paperboy. Whole custom paperboy side art. We put a custom bezel instead of just a black bezel around it.
Yep.
So it's funny, I think I used that bezel just to make sure the original black one didn't get damaged. It's the bezel in our Contra that I restored. I just kind of turned it
sweet.
like this and stuck it in Contra.
Nice.
So, anyway, it's got 2 paperboy bezels on the floor. One of them, you can definitely tell what it is. But I think it's a little low on the list too. I don't know exactly where I would rank it until I look at the rest of these. But the next one definitely feels low, and that's the Tron cabinet.
Oh my gosh, that's a classic cabinet.
It is so great.
It's so neon, so eye catching.
When I was in 3rd, 4th grade, our school field trip was to a skating rink. And I remember it was the first time I saw the Gauntlet 4-player cabinet, and I was in love with it. I went home and drew pictures of the characters in Gauntlet, and you can get potions, and you can. I had my own little fake I don't even play. You played D&D, right?
Yes.
You've played D&D.
Yeah.
I've never played D&D, guys.
Oh, D&D's, oh my gosh.
So, but I was in love with. I can tell you, if I had some friends, I doesn't have any friends. I don't know, if I had some friends back then who had played it, I would have played it because I was enamored so much that I was making my own little. Hey, you go into the store and you spend your money and you get arrows and you get stuff, you get this, and it was all just because I played Gauntlet. And right next to it was this Tron, and that black light banding right behind the control, the joystick was a translucent blue. And to a kid, and it even had underlighting underneath it.
That's awesome.
Seeing all those plastics light up, and even that back area that kind of is a step behind the plastic. What do they call that?
Just like the fort backdrop, or
yeah. So there's a translight behind this little plastic piece, and it looks so 3D and so neat. I actually put different fading in and out lights behind mine. It kind of gives it a little movement to it. When I restored mine, we added that to it. But amazing game, Tron.
So, the first video games that I played, there's 2 of them. One of them was Tron. The other one I think is on the list, so I don't want to get into that one.
Okay.
So when I was growing up, I lived over in Fort Worth. Right down the street, there was a 7-Eleven. And that 7-Eleven was literally, it's 2 houses across the street, and you're at 7-Eleven from where I live.
Man.
And one of the games there was Tron. And I was too young to play it. I still tried to play it.
Sure.
I was just too.
It's kind of hard.
Yeah, there's a lot of joysticks and spinning and shooting. And,
Had a unique control with the spinner in your left hand and the joystick in your right, and a trigger.
You know, and I didn't have the dexterity when I was young.
Sure.
So
I don't have the dexterity now.
but that's, I remember that vividly. I'll just say it. It was Joust on the left, Tron on the right. That was my arcade when I was a kid.
Man, that's 7-Eleven arcade.
7-Eleven had arcade games. That was the bomb.
What were your 7-Eleven? Well, let's all go over our 7-Eleven. Sidetrack.
Okay.
7-Eleven arcade games.
Street Fighter 2.
Oh, man. That's a good one.
Yeah, just regular.
My Taco Bueno had a Street Fighter 2.
Yeah, not even like Super Street Fighter 2. Just base Street Fighter 2. And man, it was just Pac-Man Galaga. Galaga machine in Street Fighter 2.
I love that.
I almost said Frogger, but that was when Pizza Inn first opened up. So.
My 7-Eleven had Shinobi.
Oh, great.
And Super Dodgeball, which I never played, but I always played Shinobi.
Shinobi rules.
Shinobi was amazing.
Awesome. You know, and I do want to shout out to Pizza Inn because you've said it twice during the podcast. God, we're a better place to get pizza. There's only so few places left. I think there's one in Richland Hills.
The buffet.
We go to that one all the time.
Yeah, and
that's really good. I don't know why I'm just blanking. I went there 2 weeks ago.
Shout out.
So we want to get to the sponsor portion of the show.
Pizza Inn.
If you like Pizza Inn,
do you think Pizza Inn pays for even advertising at this point?
I don't know. It's just memories. It runs off of nostalgia.
The one in Azel shut down.
Is there a coupon in my circular for Pizza Inn?
Maybe. God, I don't know.
There was one in Louisville we used to go to all the time on lunch, and it just slowly faded.
Yeah.
I still have one free menu coupon I didn't get to use.
Mike Murray, who was on the podcast previously, he takes me to this Pizza Inn. I'd never been to it.
Love it.
It is locked in time. We'll go there. We should do a podcast for the pizza.
Yeah, it sounds like
when you go there, it is like you step back in the day. It is so cool.
Thin crust pepperoni with mushrooms. If anyone's looking for
it's a buffet.
The buffet.
The buffet there. It has a nice little salad bar and everything. So
I live close to it, so they deliver to my house, which is great.
What?
Love it.
Any other notes on Tron? Did you have a Tron experience?
No, the first time I really got to play Tron was here, and I still suck at it.
Oh, nice.
It's still very hard. I've still seen like little younger kids like do better at it than me.
Those light bikes is still the best stage.
The light bikes
still cool.
is still what a great movie tie-in game.
Yeah,
I know.
And I don't know about like parts on that game, but I hear that the control on that is very expensive or hard to find as well for an original one.
So
there's something
blue
out there.
controller.
Yeah.
Somebody came out with replacement sticks, which is good because most of them were cracked or damaged or had degraded.
It's had some degradation over the years.
Degradation had happened to them over the years and kind of faded. But somebody came out with sticks, and that's what's on ours. But someone came out with UV. Those weren't really UV, so they didn't glow. A lot of times when your kid memory, you think there's a light inside.
It seemed like it.
Yeah, there's not. Because I've rebuilt that joystick, I know for a fact. But there's some UV sticks now that
That's
you can put
cool.
on it and make them glow a little better. So that's kind of nice. Next one down is number 27. That's Seawolf. It's a dual periscope game.
Yep.
We have the modern Seawolf back there where
Which
you
is
shoot the
awesome.
boats.
That's
It's
a
pretty
lot
cool.
of fun.
It is really fun. So
Is this 2-player?
it is 2-player. It's the Seawolf 2, actually, is what they're saying here. So Seawolf 1 may have been 1-player. Next one down, this would have been one of those big old GameWorks games back in the day. It was been TX1. This is a triple monitor racing game. So you get, to me, it was like pole position, but you just had another monitor here and here, and it was a giant cabinet. If I ever saw one of these, I would say, wow, that's amazing. It's like, hey, you can take it for $100. I'm like, I can't
No,
tow.
I'd
have to buy a tow truck to get this car
I don't
home.
think I've ever seen that game.
Have you seen this game?
No, triple monitor, like pole position style racing. Like,
I want to say there's another game like this, maybe with Ferraris. In the comments below, write something, guys. I don't remember. Number 25, probably low on the list. Dance Dance Revolution.
yeah, especially the 2-player one. Like, I think that should be higher.
Big neon lights and the speakers. It's all mirrored. It's got the lights at the top that make you feel like you're on Soul Train. That's a dated reference.
Oh, wow. I didn't know what you were going to say. I feel like you're on Soul Train.
Camera in a
Yeah.
dark room. No. Soul Train. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Not that train, Soul Train. So yeah, Dance Dance Revolution is amazing. I love DDR. Did you play this a lot?
So I actually did play this quite
Yeah?
a bit when I was younger.
Roman looks like a DDR guy.
So
Yeah.
I actually even had the home version with the
What?
mats. And I was on the 3rd floor, and they sure did come upstairs and be like, "Hey, what are you doing up there?"
This old lady with a
Yeah,
broomstick.
But I will tell you though that what's specific about this game is that I think everyone watches movies, right?
Sure.
Can you think of any other game that's referenced more when they go out to places than this game? It's not Dance Dance Revolution, but the dancing games like Scott Pilgrim.
Okay.
they're
yeah.
playing that.
yeah.
They're like the
And-
ninja game.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then
Nice,
exactly.
that's good.
And then what's the other game where the guy was like, "Hey, I get to pick the game. We're gonna play it," and he's like, "Oh, I don't know how to play that game," and then he's
Oh, Grandma's Boy.
Grandma's Boy. That's what it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good
You know,
job. I
I
knew
mean-
you would know. That's why I was already trying to do.
So I mean, just there's
Trevino's a
tons of-
great reference for movies.
I
Funny
know,
movies.
I know.
Funny movies.
There is a ton of movies that reference this style of game.
Yeah.
And it's not like they can reference anything else because this is the only style of game like that.
Right.
Because it's fun to watch people be on it and like the physicality of it. Like,
Yep. I remember playing it at the beginning. You would actually stand up and dance, and then as there's been professionals that do this for a living, play DDR, they're holding on.
They hold the rail and their
Yeah.
feet are like just spaghetti.
yeah, they're river dancing like all over the freaking. It is crazy.
river
man.
dance.
It is crazy. Yeah, my friend actually had the home version also because there's nowhere local that we could actually play this, and he only had one pad. So it was me and all my really cool. We're all very cool.
You look
12,
cool.
13-year-old friends played it on a
very
PlayStation
cool.
2. I remember one of my friends for one of the songs. I'm not going to name him, but he will know who he is. There was a moment where he had to like put your feet on the top and bottom, and then you'd switch to the sides. He'd do that, and then he'd hit the last buttons with his hands.
Superhero landing. Superhero landing.
Exactly. I have vivid memories.
Yeah, please tell me you had long hair and you flick it back after you're done.
Little Taylor Swift though.
He had a lot of hair, but didn't have that kind of hair. But yeah, that's
It's all on his back. God.
He's got a Wolverine under the belt. But
Y'all want to hear a Harry backstory?
yes, now I do.
It's with my grandpa. Grandpa, I'm sorry you're watching this. So my grandma was worried my grandpa was balding and gave him Rogaine. And he would put it on, but then he would take a shower and he was washing it all out and run down his back. So my grandma was like, I tell you what, he can't keep it on top of his head, but it works really well because it's like this perfect pelt of hair running down his back.
That's awesome.
I can't verify it because I don't see my grandpa with his shirt off much.
Oh
but my grandma told me that
That's
story.
funny.
So that was pretty funny. Anyway.
Behind that. Anyway, that's great.
The imagery was fantastic, even to me as a kid. Back to the list.
Yeah.
Talk about Harry Backs. Harry, back to the list. 24 is Guitar Freaks. So the only way and so these days you'll be hard pressed to find someone who's had never heard of Guitar Hero. So basically, I think this might have came out before that, and it's your rhythm game with guitars in your hand and you feel like a rock star. But we can easily just think of Guitar Hero when we say this. Guitar Freak's probably getting credit for it because it might have made it beforehand. And what we're looking at is the game that kicked off rhythm games in general.
Right.
Because before this, I don't think that you ran in. There was a Drum Mania that was really cool. I remember there's an MTV drum game. It might be Drum Mania, actually. I'm thinking of. I remember my friend could play drums really well.
That's cool.
And he said, "That's cool." And he said, "I said, hey, play Metallica." He was like, total Christian drummer at church, and he's like, dun 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 dun. And he's playing.
Awesome.
I'm like, how do you know Metallica? He's like, oh, you can just hear it. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. So, but Guitar Freaks, I would say Guitar Hero or Guitar Freaks would belong on this list.
I'm trying to think. I've seen a Guitar Freaks in person, but I think it was only one controller. I don't think it was the two.
Oh, okay.
And now I'm sitting there wondering if it was a conversion from like Drum Mania, because I just read on there that it could be converted or linked.
Okay.
But I'm trying to think where. I weirdly think it might have been at like Tilt, but that might be too.
Can't remember ever seeing
too
Guitar
late.
Freaks. I don't
Never. I can't remember seeing it in person just because my memory is just Guitar Hero, which is still in arcades to this day all over the place. If you go to round one, Guitadora is the modern rhythm-based with something in your hand like drums or guitars and whatnot. So I think that's the modern version of Guitar Hero, but still, Guitar Hero is the GOAT of these freaking guitar games in my eyes.
I remember the home version that I had like the drums.
Oh yeah,
that was Rock Band.
Oh, that's it. Rock Band.
Yeah, Rock Band was awesome.
Did they ever do anything like that in the arcade where there was like a drum set that was connected to a guitar where you're actually like a stage?
Oh, like a whole band?
Wouldn't that be awesome to have a stage and where you get on there?
What are we doing here? Let's get this started right now.
Hey, apparently this cabinet can also be linked with the arcade game Drum Mania.
And this Keyboard Mania could be linked to it as well. So maybe.
Yeah,
I wonder if
someone tried it.
Well, how much money would that cost back in the day?
Why?
A $70,000 setup.
That'd be
for
awesome though.
Kids to be able to play in the band together. So, and you can't do that with Guitar Hero. So maybe this does deserve its 24 spot.
there you go.
23's Panic Park.
Never
Anyone
heard of
play Panic Park?
No.
I've never played Panic Park, guys. Comments below if you've ever played Panic Park. The
cabinet looks cool.
Cabinet looks cool. Reminds me of a game called Flip Table. I actually had this offered to me recently.
Awesome.
You know that game?
I've never seen it in person, but I've watched like streams of people playing it and stuff.
If my phone wasn't incapacitated at the time, right now, the comment from the guy was like, "Hey, have you heard of Flip Table?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Would you be interested?" I'm like, "Well, it would be pricing condition." He goes, "Do you know a good welder?" I'm not interested.
Yeah, Jesus.
I'm like, "Well, you're gonna need a good welder." I'm like, "I'm not. I don't even want a game in here that I need to know a good welder."
How does that even? That doesn't even make
I will let you
sense.
read the text.
Oh,
that is
man.
literally what it said. Do you know a good welder?
What?
So,
How much metal is on this thing that
I
you can
think
weld?
is probably a metal arm with a little half of a table, and you upend it when it's time to upend it on there. I know, like maybe the kids are arguing, the wife's mad at the table. You're like, "The man!"
Yeah, it's so funny.
It's
The
a cool
reaction
game.
too. The game looks fun.
It looks fun. Flip Table, guys. Anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking about Panic Park. It looks similar, I guess. I don't know. Next one down is Arm Champs and Arm Champs 2. Who hasn't played Arm Champs?
I haven't played one. I've played two. And
With
I
the
love
robot
it.
arm, yeah.
Yes, I could always get to like the sumo wrestler guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun game. I think one of the AMC, one of those movie theaters had it. Maybe it's Fossil Ridge over nearby where we're at. So
Is the and looking at, I can't remember. Is it the silver hand?
Yes.
Yeah,
the
it's a
second
silver
one? Yeah.
silver arm is the second one. That's the one I played too. It was before they put the new movie theater in
That's the one.
in the Northeast Mall. They used to have an older movie theater there.
Yep.
It was by Montgomery Wards, and they had that game in there. They still have these at Galloping Ghost too. But yeah, I remember we were cheating like a bastard.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
All the kids are pushing them. It's just holding tight. You're like, how did this game not get broke? I'm sure it got broke a lot. So it's probably broke weekly. Caveman, never played that. Looks kind of like a pinball
looks
machine.
interesting. Yeah, I read about this one. This is one I actually had notes on that was like it has a little like Pac-Man game in it where you're
Oh, I
playing,
can actually see the monitor
and you
there
can see
now.
a joystick on the top, so you get into break into the cave.
It's the reverse of Baby Pac-Man.
It's kind of like Baby Pac-Man.
Yeah, it is.
The other side, yeah.
Maybe this was the precursor to Baby Pac-Man. Now, that should be on the list. I don't know how great.
I thought it was.
It might.
Is it on the
Have
list?
to
it
see.
is.
Okay.
It is.
All right, we have to see, guys. Have to see.
Someone didn't do their homework.
Yeah, I know. Or did it so long ago. So yeah, Baby Pac-Man and Granny the Gators have the monitor and the baby pinball machine, and you kind of traverse between the two, which is kind of neat.
Right.
So that's Caveman. Death Race, number 20. Now, this man right here, you've never played this?
No.
Okay, he's got notes on Death Race, I'm sure.
So Death Race was one of those original games where you get to run people over and all that good stuff back in the days.
Yes, the vehicular homicide game.
Was it top
Of the
down,
70s.
Or are you behind the vehicle? Are you behind?
I thought it was side view.
No, I think it's top down.
Is it top down?
I feel like it is. Because I feel like you run over the gremlins, which are just
Yeah,
people.
they're just people.
Oh.
And you hear them scream, and then a little cross pops up.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
so
think this
pretty
is one
cool.
of the. We talked about this before, but I think this is one of the first games where you could actually like kill something like that and splat it on the ground. And
It had fantastic art. Whereas it has the 2 steering wheels. Has fantastic artworks. There's basically those hot rod style
Like
like
those
rat
rat
fink.
fink,
Yeah,
yeah.
rat fink
Yeah,
hot rod, but it's death behind the wheel.
looks
Out of the
awesome.
top. Really cool. Played this in San Francisco at the Mechanic Museum on the wharf and Fisherman's Wharf, and my wife loves it. She thought it was
where was
great.
that at that you played it?
In San Francisco, on Fisherman's Wharf, I think, at the Mechanic Museum. Maybe we need to highlight that. Actual arcade is really cool. I actually saw
Awesome.
pictures from that one. So, Death Race was banned due to its violent stick figure content.
Right.
Wow. So yeah, probably one of the first.
It's pretty rare. I'm thinking 6K plus on this, maybe more, guys. I haven't looked for one or saw one for sale in so long. I haven't looked for one. Number 19, Star Trek Cockpit. Have you ever played this?
No, I haven't seen it.
Galloping Ghost. No, I didn't play this at Galloping Ghost. I played this at the Pinball Museum in Las Vegas.
Wow.
It's really cool. There's a stand-up. It's a color vector game. It's the Strategic Operations Simulator. So it's a little. To me, it's still really fun. It's not as cool as Vector Star Wars, but the cockpit's cool. You're Captain Kirk. You're in the freaking.
Nice.
You're in the chair, man. You're in the
Enterprise.
captain's chair. So tough game to find. It has some smoked glass pieces and stuff around it. Really cool game. But it's color vector Sega game. Probably ahead of its time as far as the design
Another
and
one I
look
gotta
of it.
look up.
But look at that. It looks like a captain's chair, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it looks
does.
like
Gotta
the
love
one from the Enterprise, man.
gotta
It's
love it.
really neat. Next one down, T-Mech. This is a giant 4-player. Anyone play this?
No.
Nope.
It's got headrest, 2 joysticks, push and pull, various combinations. Get your T-Mech in gear. Is this a mech game? I'm
guessing. I hope.
yeah, I hope so. Joysticks to pilot a tank or a giant robot. Pretty cool. It says the robot tank that you piloted painted on the sides of the cabinet like a bitchin' van mural. That's what it actually says there. It does look really cool.
It does look like the side of a van.
So if you played T-Mech and you loved it, here's another one. This is that F-114 game. I was telling you it's kind of like the TX whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's really cool. So
8-player track. Oh, 8-track. Excuse me. It had an 8-track player in it.
So this was actually a jet game, not a Ferrari game. I take it back. I've never played this game or seen it. So pretty cool. It's number 17 on the list. So it does look like a cabinet that may deserve on a greatest cabinets list. I just don't have nostalgic value for it. But I have a lot for number 16. A lot.
What the heck is this?
Number 16 is Sonic Blast Man. No one played this?
No.
No, this is banned.
You see Tato lost a class action lawsuit for $50,000 to U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission because of injury sustained by players of Sonic Blast Man.
Did you used to punch that?
You used to punch it, bud. So this was in the Tilt Northeast Mall. Me and my friend Stanton loved this game. It had little boxing gloves that hung off the side with just enough rope to supposedly save you, but you could rip those things off. And you could crank on this thing. And it wasn't like the boxers that you see in bars now where you hit it and the boxing thing goes this. It was a metal arm with a pad. And it might go back like that, but it didn't have like fall down give. Right. And you just miss. There's these metal rails on the side. You just miss and hit those and break your wrist. The game was broken all the time. It was awesome though. So basically, you're Sonic Blast Man. Imagine Turbo Man from
got it.
from Jingle All the Way. That's what you look like. You're him, and you put on the boxing glove, and you have to hit these things that are on the screen. So on the screen, you would get the runaway semi truck. You had to stop it. Well, first it was like a purse snatcher. You hit him. And you probably bust him out in one. You're like, you're done. You get 3 punches to destroy whatever you're hitting. So imagine the level in Street Fighter where you're beating up the car.
Right.
Same concept, except you're physically hitting the pad. You got 3 punches. So
that's wild.
The first one's a purse snatcher. The second one was a runaway semi truck. The third one, I don't remember if it was falling or not, but you had to hit a skyscraper and bust that sucker up. Then it was the one I loved was the giant mutated crab. You had to knock him out, and you had to blow him up. And then there was a meteor headed for Earth, and you had to smash that.
Punch the meteor.
There's like a moon, maybe, I don't know. So really,
moon, maybe, I don't know.
So it was out of order a lot. It hurt
why.
you.
I wonder why.
Your wrist hurt after you're done playing it. I don't care if you didn't physically just miss and hurt your hand, break your wrist or hurt your hand or whatever. You hurt after playing it. So, but boy, it was awesome.
Damn, I'm
so cool.
Beating up arcade machines all day.
It's one of those games from a nostalgic point I would love to own, but I could never put out.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, we would just go down. I would not have the $50,000 to pay for someone's wrist surgery. It'd probably be more now. I don't know what that is adjusted for inflation. So. Number 15, anyone play 720?
Yep.
I have played this. I remember the joystick is weird.
We own a 720. We've never got it out. You played it you saw it in the back where you're playing like Warlords or something.
Right.
So.
It's got weird controls. It's
joystick's super weird. It has a bike chain on it. Did you know that?
What?
The joystick underneath,
no.
There's all kinds of fun things happens underneath the control panel that you don't get to see. This one has a bicycle chain on it.
Is that how they did the weird oblong?
Yeah, it's so strange. It's a funky cabinet. It looks like it's got a boombox at the top, which deserving of the list because of the uniqueness of it.
I think kind of the high on the list.
You think it's a little high? How about you?
You know, I haven't played it. I've seen it, so I can't say that I know how well or not. So I don't know.
It reminds me a lot of Skater Die on the Nintendo. So it's like Skater Die, the arcade. I love it from that standpoint of it being a skater game. Right. And there's not a lot of them. Top Skate probably better.
That's what
I've played 720 on console.
Oh, I'm sure it's crap on Nintendo.
It wasn't that bad, but
I think I have that on Nintendo. Oh, anyway, 720 guys, y'all. That might be a medium res monitor, but it would be if it is, it's a 25-inch. So pretty cool. Big stereo on the top. Oh man, 14 though.
This is it.
14's right behind us.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the
X-Men 6-player.
Fantastic. Also at the Pizza Inn.
Oh my God, you're the gem of a Pizza Inn, man.
Dude, they had Terminator 2 pinball. They had Stun Runner, all that. Nice. So yeah.
This, in my opinion, this is the sound of an arcade. I think I've told you. So when it's the X-Men playing, it's the X-Men. That's what I would hear every time I went into an arcade. And I can't, to be honest, I don't remember
a cool song
that didn't have it.
Really?
Yeah. Like Putt-Putt had it.
And they weren't worth remembering.
Putt-Putt had it.
The one at Town Center Mall had it.
Really?
The one I could have swore Tilt had this.
Electric Starship Arcade has it.
Electric Starship.
Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah.
So this is a tough game to get. I have a friend that found one of these in an alley because it was just pushed out back. Like, ugh. Right. We have 2 of these. Did you know that?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we actually have 2. So there will be one at the Time Rift when we open it, or maybe shortly after we open it, but it definitely is going to go in the Time Rift. So the first one was offered to me. It was in a private collection. It's this one here, and it came with our Space Invaders. And I was paid a fantastic price for it for what they're worth, because you're talking about a game that might be $5,000-$6,000 now.
Yeah.
Don't know what they cost back in the day, but it was really cool because this is a 6-player game, which is pretty rare in any arcade, in any format, at any time period or age, without linking multiple racing cabinets or something together. Right. 4 players usually where they tapped out. They're like, all right, we can't do any more here. You got Killer Queen that's 10-player now, but it's a modern indie game. This was, they had a 4-player version, which we own that. Yep. We had that on the floor when we first opened. The second one I got, believe it or not, this is the craziest luck. Cynthia was just scrolling through estate sales and stuff. There's a huge church right here on Denton Highway. It's called it was called the Wisdom Center.
Right.
You remember seeing that?
Yeah, I do.
It was just in there, and I got it. My friend got one, and he beat my story because he found it in the alley and it was free.
Right.
I got mine for $100.
Oh my gosh.
Jeez Louise.
I got that 6-player X-Men
Wow.
for $100. You know what was really funny? We tried to buy it before. They said, "Oh, we can't sell it. You have to come on Saturday and just pick it up." And I was like, "Oh, I'll just be the first one here." So I get there and they're like, and they told me $75 for
Right.
the phone. When I get there and they said, "I'm sorry, we told you $100," and I was like, "I don't, whatever.
Yeah,
I'll give you
okay.
110.
Sure,
Right?
yeah.
I don't care. It's another $25. It's a multi-$1,000 machine." So I pick it up, and as I'm putting it on the truck, it wasn't me they told 100. It was like someone else that had called. Now I had called several days before,
Yeah.
Right.
so but someone else had called, and they were pulling up as I'm closing the lid on my, or, closing the door.
Oh,
on the
wow.
truck. I just got it on the truck,
Boom.
and they're like upset. The backstory to that is my brother gets a call and said, "Hey, did you tell your brother I was picking it up?" It was his brother-in-law, like his wife's brother, was
What?
going to pick it. So like they even
they
knew
took it
who I
personal?
was,
Right.
So they took it personal. Thought my
Oh.
brother tipped me off on it. I'm like,
Right.
no, I didn't know they were coming.
Right.
Just early bird gets the worm, or the 6-player X-Men
There you
in
go.
this case.
Dang,
So
man. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that cabinet.
It's
Dual screens in that one, correct?
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
It's a
Full screen.
reflector that like a
it's a great point. So they use that telescoping, same thing they did in Space Invaders. Got a piece of glass, got a monitor behind or below it, and it's reflecting. And then they have a hole that sticks out the back, so you can never push this against the wall because there's literally a monitor box sticking off
Right.
the back of this. So I'm sorry, I'm getting too far away from the mic and hitting it too. But that gave it that a semi-seamless giant widescreen effect.
It still tricks my brain. I love it.
It's really, really neat. The next one's too low on the list, and it's actually in front of us here, and that is number 13 is the Star Wars cockpit. And man, if that ain't top 3,
that's a great game.
I don't know what is.
Yeah.
25-inch vector ampliphone monitor inside. A lot of these where you lose that monitor, it gets converted to a 19-inch, but ours still has the 25-inch. It struggles sometimes, but it's been on the floor and been pretty good for us. But when I was a kid, it just felt like I was in Star Wars.
Yeah.
I felt like I was flying the X-Wing.
All
I
the
was
sound
Luke.
effects.
Yeah.
All the,
Yep.
I was Luke Skywalker, man. That's a beautiful, great cabinet, and it's still, at one point, it was my favorite arcade machine of all time. So I got a lot of nostalgic value. Every time I saw either this upright or the cockpit, I just think it's a great game. So
When I was talking to you, didn't you say this was one of your gotta get it
it's a grail.
arcades and you finally got
I
it?
never thought I would own it. Both of these. Now, we're talking 2 games in a row I never thought we would have in this arcade, and we have them both. And God bless.
well, yeah.
I mean,
What else? What more can you ask for?
I mean, it's awesome. I don't think they'll probably bury me in that one. It's like that. Oh, you don't have to buy a casket. Just bury me in the Star Wars cockpit. Number 12, Shark Jaws. They were just trying to play off the Jaws time period there. 1975, walk by the arcade and see the word Jaws and they play it, right?
Yep.
So
That's why I don't understand why it's even on this list. Where I'm like, is it on the list because they got away with one? Is it on the list? Like the cabinet itself doesn't look anything
It's just-
fantastic. Like
It just looked like a cabinet,
yeah, it's pretty average looking. It looks like it's just got a joystick.
Like
and
let's take this off. Let's put virtual on this.
there's actually the game that comes in number 2 when we get to it, way more deserving to be on this list. And the fact that they're only 10 apart, I don't know.
Right.
I have a Jaws pinball machine that kills this right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
So that just came out. So Shark Jaws. They put the word shark. It's super small.
Yeah.
Right there.
Shark
That's kind of fun.
Jaws.
Yeah, it's just a play on words.
I
Just
don't
like you
understand
said.
why it's so high on the list.
Yeah, I don't either. Number 11's Miss Pac-Man. I mean, we've all seen a million Miss Pac-Mans, but it's
It's good.
nostalgic. It's the one,
it's
right?
nostalgic. I don't know if it would be in the top 10 as like, oh, you got to check these out. This is a great arcade, but it's a good game. It's been around.
It's one of those games
it's not
like if you
innovative.
see it in everybody's house, like this
Yeah.
would be the game. Oh,
Yeah.
they have a Miss Pac-Man machine. How
Right.
cool are they? They're really
Yeah,
pretty.
there's a Friends episode about
Is it?
where Chandler gets a Miss
The Seinfeld Frogger one. I remember that.
I remember the Seinfeld Frogger one.
Yeah. Next one totally deserving of this
Oh, yeah.
list. Me and Roman picked this up. There's a whole
Yeah,
video about this.
That's a good story on that one.
We have that in the Starship. It's Time Traveler, the Sega hologram machine. This is like the epitome of innovation, right?
Right.
So we're dealing with a QuickTime event game, which is not very innovative, but at
Right.
the time, pretty cool, with a Laserdisc player and they put a hyperbolic mirror, right? So it was like a half moon, half of a dome.
Yep.
So we were trying to figure out how to build. Me and Tate and Greg sat around trying to figure out how to build one of these, and we were talking about buying, the kind of sky crawl thing, like you see it like a McDonald's Playland or whatever. They have the domed.
Yeah, safety mirrors.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, that too,
But
right?
like in the
Inside
tunnels.
the ball crawl, the crawl thing, that you get to a window and you're like looking out at your parents. That's what we were looking at, getting one of those, cutting it in half, painting it silver on one side, black on the other. We're just trying to figure out how this thing worked. And really what it is there's a regular old television set, like old CRT TV, sitting in a cabinet, pointing at that thing, and then there's a piece of glass with some wooden blocks, and it creates that 3D effect. It's really cool. It's not even, it's just a black dome in there for the reflection.
not even extra.
Huh.
Where'd you play this one?
So I know exactly where I saw this one. This is Town Center Mall. When I was younger, went over there. This was the most expensive arcade game I've ever played because I thought it was $3 to
Really?
play
Okay.
or $4 to play this game.
How long ago?
This was in the 90s, early 90s.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did you ever see it?
I
It
have
was
seen it.
expensive to play that game. And I would play it, and I would die, and
Yeah.
I'd get pissed off because it cost me so much to
$2,
play it.
man.
Yeah,
It's
it was
like-
it was either $2 or $3. I mean, it was expensive at the time.
Mine
but-
was $2. It was here again at the Tilton Northeast Mall.
Right.
$2 sounds about right. This restaurant is still open in Azle. It's called Capriccio's, but they used to be a like brick house pizza joint.
Oh, nice.
And that they had this game. They had Sunset Riders, and they had the game where you throw the balls at the clowns and the clowns fall over.
Oh, yeah.
Down the clown.
Yeah, there you go. And yeah, my friend's mom happened to work at this pizza joint when we were growing up. I was probably like 7, maybe 9, and she would just turn it off, turn it on for us, and first play is always free.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
so we just
love
play
that.
it all the time.
Another game I thought, oh, there's no way I ever own it. And we have a topper for it, which is kind of rare. We had to go back the next day and get the
Yep.
topper.
So the good story on this one is that I was just scrolling online and I found it.
Forgot about this too.
And I'm like, oh my God, there's a time traveler out there. So I'm calling Mike, and Mike calls me back, hey, I'm trying to make a deal on a time traveler I found.
Yeah, we both saw it at the same time.
So he's getting it, and he's like, man, I'm gonna have to try to get it tomorrow, but it's I don't know, And I was like, dude, let's just. I'll go with you. Let's get it now.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
already
And we
late.
went in the rain
It was
and picked it
raining.
up.
It was late at
Jeez.
night.
Yeah, we just wanted to get it locked down because we just knew. Another backstory to that is me and Greg. There's video of this too on our YouTube channel. We went to there was a swap. It was the first swap meet, kind of middle of the pandemic. It was at the video game museum in Frisco, and we're in the parking lot, and this thing's sitting in the parking lot, and it wasn't working. And the guy was like, "Oh, we'll do a we'll send you the Dexter board to get it working and all this other stuff." And he wanted a few grand for it. And I was just like, man, if it was working. And remember, I opened this arcade during the pandemic. There wasn't a time where I had a lot of frivolous project money to throw at games that were, even if they were that rare.
Right.
And I didn't buy it. Well, years later, it pops up at this auction. It goes for, I'm like, I'm getting it. I don't care how much it costs, blah, blah, blah. Well, no, it went for more than I thought I
was
could
there
pay
at that
for
auction.
it. Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah, I
that'll
do.
be on YouTube too. I'm sure you can see it.
Oh.
And then we end up getting this one for like $2,000 less with the
Right.
topper in much better condition, working.
Yep.
So-
And original everything on the inside,
Everything
too.
original.
It's not working with the Dexter board. It's
Except for the
original.
blocks.
Yeah. So yeah, it pretty wild.
You know, the
Pretty
one
cool.
thing that-
it didn't have the blocks. We had to cut the blocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you talking
The one
about
thing that was
He
great about
looked
this
for
story-
him. Oh, that dude, poor guy.
Oh,
He looked
yeah.
all through his garage for those stupid wood
You know,
blocks.
The one cool thing about this story, the weird thing I thought, is that when we went over there, since it was a new person to pay online, you couldn't get the whole payment.
Oh,
And the guy was
it's true.
like, you know what? You could just pay me tomorrow. We're like,
I know. He
"Oh."
let us take this thing. Like, he just trusted us, which, we're trustworthy, but I don't know,
You
man.
don't see that. Yeah, especially it's like $1,000.
Yeah, it
He's
was
like, "Yeah, you can send
expensive.
it to me tomorrow.
And we're like, okay. I was like, well, we really want that topper too. So I was like, I'll trade you now we're holding his money hostage for this topper. No, we had to like follow him. You didn't get to go with me the next day for the topper,
I
right?
didn't.
Yeah, we had to follow him like much further. It was so the game was at one house, and then his mom's house had this topper, and I just couldn't believe
their
it. It was
garage.
really
But he
cool
did
feeling.
search everywhere for those blocks, so he was going through
It
everything.
was really nice. Top 10 here. Number 9 is the Afterburner cockpit, and that had some slide rotation to it, right?
That's a great game.
Great game. We have the upright here. This was in Terminator 2. John Connor's playing it when the cops are looking for him.
Yep.
That was kind of cool. Definitely deserves to be top 10.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
The
this is,
feedback on the controller.
oh,
On the joystick.
so cool. Yeah, you get that with the upright, but this one,
You're
it's
in
like
it.
a rocking chair sliding, but then I think the monitor may move. It's been a long time since I played it, but I remember seeing it going, oh, that's the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
Right.
You know?
Pulling barrel rolls. All right.
Yeah, barrel.
You gotta do the
Come on, Maverick.
ah,
Sinistar Cockpit. Sinistar is a great game. It's weird in a cockpit. And cockpit's beautiful.
I didn't even know there was a cockpit.
Yeah.
in this
So
game.
here's the funny part. I didn't even know there was a Sinistar arcade when
Really?
until more recently.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd you play Sinistar on?
So there was a Sinistar on TurboGrafx 16. There's a
oh,
Sinistar.
really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I believe
I
so,
want
if
to
I'm
play
not
that
mistaken.
version and see how it's
Yeah.
different. I would imagine it'd be pretty good. Number 7's Pong. I mean, we're talking like maybe the second arcade game, first successful arcade game.
You can't get enough of this.
Yeah.
That we joked about this on the home ports, that this is the first arcade perfect port.
Oh, yeah.
When it came home, it was like, looks just like it did in the arcade.
Yeah,
wow,
whoa.
look at this graphic.
I think that we had a debate. Was this the first sports game too?
First sports
Yeah.
game.
it was-
Tennis.
Yeah, that was a different podcast, but that was actually true. So, console version of this game, perfect.
Yeah.
Number 6, Baby Pac-Man.
There you go.
Amazing, unique cabinet with really cute art.
I
you
like
know?
the game.
Can't wait to see it back on the floor here.
Yeah, that one's rotated off right now just because, new
that's
stuff, right? Number 5, Fire Truck. Someone asked for this game recently.
Wow. I didn't. I meant to say wow. I have never heard of this game. So do you have to work together to steer it?
You do. So old fire trucks,
Counter steer.
yeah, you had to steer the back of it, like going around the corner.
Wow.
So like there's a guy steering the cab and there's a guy steering the
The rear.
the
wheel.
backside, the ass end of the fire truck. So they made a video game that was like that, and they made this in 1978, the year of Mike Wood's birth.
Nice.
This game came out, black and white monitor, really cool game. I've seen it on videos at Fun Spot, but that's about it. Tank 8 is number 4. So is this an 8-player game? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8-player tank game. So another game from 1976, unique cockpit with a cool. I've never seen this in person.
I don't even know how that would play.
Imagine it's. Do you remember Atari's Combat? You had those little tanks.
Yeah,
it was like
tanks,
the
yeah.
game that came with the Atari. I would imagine it's like that with
souped up
tank
graphics.
controls. Who has this game? If you have this game and you love this game, I mean, come on.
Or
Yeah,
if you
tell
know
me
where
all
there's
about
one
it.
At, let us know.
Yeah, I would love to play it. It says it had a 25-inch color screen. That's a big monitor. Well, you would need more space for all those tanks.
Yeah, so I'm guessing it was laying down. You're looking down at it.
It
while you're
is.
playing?
Yeah, it's kind of cockpit style. You stand
those
up
tanks.
and it looks a little bit like those, those fishing games now. Where
Yeah.
the other people are there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot the hook.
It's a fish tank game. That's a little different. So, number 3 is Computer Space. Amazing fiberglass cabinet. There's a yellow one, I think, in Jaws. Soylent Green had this game
Really?
in it. Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome.
Doesn't
I
it
So
have
they,
that
like-
60s vibe to it.
It
you know?
does because it was made in 1971, so it was kind of like
Nice.
they were probably designing it in the 60s
Yeah.
still. So it definitely pretty neat game. If you go to the museum needs to give me a shout out because I am plugging the heck out of it. If you go in, it's like the first games you see. They have several different versions of this Computer Space.
That looks like something you would see on like the $6 Million Man or something. Just
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
background.
totally.
Like
A
the
very
computer room.
Logan's Run
Yeah.
looking thing. So, Man Eater. I've never seen this game in person, but it looks like a shark.
Yeah.
with its mouth open, and you play inside its mouth.
Second shark game.
Yeah, with intense spots.
It's like with it.
so we all know we got to make a shark game. Too.
yeah,
gotta-
the top 2, baby.
Yeah, so-
if you make it,
So now we're at number 2. I'm going to break out a couple things. I would like to say you haven't seen these games. So I love big, crazy fiberglass, crazy games, right? There's not enough of them in my eyes. So Man Eater is this shark game, but they made games that you could put other games in. So imagine like the Blast City, right? Or like
Right.
Japan's thought process is you would just make this kind of cabinet, you can put anything you want in it. So Taito made this cabinet called I want you to try to pronounce this because I got nothing. Taito, is that a Titan? cabinet. So it's got a giant bug head at the top,
The
right?
Titan arcade.
The Titan.
Yeah.
The bizarre
It's gotta be
Tato
Titan.
Titan arcade cabinet.
What
so,
the hell?
So you put like Space Invaders in it.
That should have been on the list.
Isn't this a great cabinet? Look at these big old eyes. Those are giant glowing eye
Ridiculous.
cabinet, and I would die to have one of these. Put it in the arcade. I
Those
love
wings on the
stuff like
side.
this.
Look
Yeah, it has these wings painted on, and then it has this kind of big plastic shroud, giant. It's the size of a Chuck E. Cheese head. It's just on top of the arcade
Looks like
game.
a giant cicada just landed
Yeah,
on.
Yeah.
exactly. And you put just Space Invaders or whatever in it, I think. So you can see these are just sitting on top of these Space Invader Tato cabinets here. But
That's very interesting.
they got their ideas, from there's
Very,
a
very
concert here of Crystal, the live stage set is kind of these ideas. And they came in multiple different colors, multiple different color eyes. You got the orange eyes, the green eyes. So we'll put some pictures up for people. So the Titan. The Titan.
The Titan.
The Titan.
The Titan.
The Titan. Tato Titan. Anyway, I love that. Look at the little ad for it. So yeah, pretty
Oh, wow.
cool. Yeah, she's kicking chicken right there. Really neat. There's another Sega was going to get into this too, this whole thing, and so these Sega character cabs were pretty cool because they would have like a robot or a dragon, these different robots.
Something
I like
that would
that.
attract kids. Something that would attract
Yeah,
kids.
it was increase your cash box collections. But I haven't seen any of these ever for sale, which is a shame. So if you have one of these for sale, contact me. I would love to put this in the arcade because I really like unique cabinets. That's why we're doing this podcast. So anybody else got some fun ones that they're missed?
I think we already the ones Silent Scope, Virtual On. I love
Ooh,
Virtual
Virtual
On.
On.
It's like a
It's a good
cabinet. Like it's a cool cockpit. You have the cool tank controls.
Mhm.
You get that one. Like that's one I really would love. And then of course like Time Crisis I already mentioned, but those are the ones I'm surprised. That's why I felt like there's a cutoff for this list. But then
Sure.
you see like DDR and Guitar Freaks on there, and you're like,
Yeah,
what are we doing? We have 2 shark games on here
Right?
that nobody's heard of.
I still think there's a couple of other ones. I think one
Okay.
we didn't. None of those are really like the true multi. And what I mean by that is like you have your Versus, your Nintendo Versus, and then your like Neo Geo. I think one of those deserves to be
Yeah,
on there.
why
because,
wasn't a Neo Geo cab on
Yeah,
here?
because those are they're just a cab, but we're talking about the capabilities of what it
They're
can do.
innovative. They got the cool marquee that lights up with
Yeah.
each game that you can slot in.
Correct. And then you could change those games out if you want
Yeah.
to. You could move that around. Then you have the Nintendo. You have those out there where you play Mario, Castlevania.
Oh, so like
the
the
Versus,
Versus Nintendo or the Play Choice.
Play
10.
Choice 10.
Yeah.
Yep.
So those would be really, really cool. The red tint.
Yep.
Where you sit
Yeah,
down, you got
sit
the
down.
both screens on both
Oh
sides.
yeah. The weird. Yeah.
And
A Versus City.
a Versus. That I was going to say that as well. I'm partial to all those the Japan.
Yeah, candy cabs. Yeah, totally.
But what about like the SC19, the little bitty
Oh yeah,
Neo Geo?
Yeah, the little Neo Geo with the red and blue.
No.
little shroud on top of it. It's like so tiny. You can put it on top of a counter and still play it.
That's cool.
And
Yeah. One of those came for sale. It was like $6,000.
I saw that. Yeah,
Oh
it's-
jeez.
Yeah. There's a lot of really cool Neo Geo cabinets out there that are pretty neat looking. Actually, we have one coming from China.
Yep.
Actually, it's a Japanese candy. They made us a mini version of the MVS, a little red one. It's like this tall.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really, really cool
Yep.
too. I've seen those come up at auctions a couple times. They go for more than I got, but the Goldie. would be another-
I'm a Goldie fan.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Oh, got you a
arcade.
Goldie.
Yeah,
one
he
time
got me a
at auction.
Goldie, and I've already got that one all refurbished up and good to go.
So a couple other. Do you have any other
Nah, not that I can.
honorable mentions or ones that should have been on the list?
Well, I think that we do have to say one thing about arcade cabinets is that what should we consider is what is a cabinet? Because we saw that 8-player tank game. That's really not a cabinet, right? But what about like those, like the Daytona USA, the 8 cars wide?
Oh yeah.
Oh
it's
yeah,
not a
the ones that
cab,
have rear
but-
cars
and
in
it
the
would
back.
move when you'd play. And
Yeah, those were great.
What about there was one like that was tanks, and whenever you
Tanks,
shot,
tanks.
is it what it's called? When you shot, you'd get into like a tank cockpit, and when you shot, the whole thing would
Yeah.
move. Yeah.
Yeah,
And that
there's
was
a tank one that
Versus.
was in our recent auction that was like that. It was so loud though, that compressor or something
Right.
was broke. So I was like, oh god, but really cool. I mean, the whole cannon moved like
Yeah.
what you're saying.
So like it's just that's just why there's a little weird cut off on this list, but it's
Right.
these 2 guys' lists.
And then I think you mentioned this at GameWorks. Remember the balloon game? The
Yeah.
3-story.
Oh my gosh.
Three
Like
stories.
that's
That
you
was
consider
crazy.
that a cab? I don't know.
I mean, it's an arcade machine. Yeah, it's a very unique. Yeah, at some point we have a cab cutoff. One I have on my list is Galaxian 3. If you look here, guys, it was like a little theater. Like, this was an arcade cabinet. You went
wow.
inside and had multiple seats inside. And yeah, it looked like that inside. So you sit down on the seat and you
that's
got
awesome.
a giant screen.
That is
And
the most
you know, it
80s.
was yeah, I mean, it was really cool. Look at all these polygonal graphics. But yeah, Galaxian
Nice.
3. If you've never seen one, I think there's only 2 of these in existence.
The whole that's
You go
huge.
in it.
It's like
a movie theater.
Yeah.
That's a little room. There's another Let's Go Jungle, or I'm thinking of another jungle game where you walk in as the Star Wars Battle Pod. Now,
Yeah.
the big with you walk in. That's really cool with the projector on the rounded screen.
Cockpit Star Wars arcade or whatever would be. Really, that was weird.
This
Yeah.
isn't as fancy as that one, but what about, is it Darius, the one that has the 2 or 3 screens, real wide screens on it?
yeah,
See,
yeah.
I mean, it's not innovative, but it's nice that you
Boy,
can sit there and
Darius.
go all the way across the screen. and go
I
back and
I
forth.
have been trying to get a hold of a Darius. There was one that went in an auction I was at, and that one went for about $10,000 after fees, I think. Only 10 guys. Like, I'll take 2. So, yeah, that game, they make Darius Burst now. That's kind of a sit-down version. And here's a Darius EX. It's got 3 monitors
That's what
across.
it is, 3 monitors, yeah.
Really cool game. Ninja Warriors, did you ever play that?
Yeah, I did.
It had 3 monitors, too.
I forgot all about that. It
Long,
was really wide.
crazy-looking game. I think Tecmo Bowl in the arcade may have had that sort of screen. So those are honorable. Alien Syndrome. You know,
I know. I was
see
thinking
it.
about
It's right here.
the topper on that.
The topper is so cool on that. It has the 3-eyed purple monster topper. That's a really good one. Radmobile, we have this at Chuck E. Cheese. You get inside of it. It also is an Encino Man, if you want a movie reference. Radmobile. You know, he's like,
Oh, yeah.
and
Drive
it
on 2
moves.
wheels.
It's really cool. That Jurassic Park moving theater game is cool.
What's that
yeah.
football one? Pigskin.
Pigskin. Football's a really
a great
unique
one.
cabinet. It's
Yeah.
really great. The the Street Fighter 1 that we just
Yeah.
refurbished
Oh, yeah.
with the
great
punch buttons. So those are great. The number 1 on here is, what is it?
It's a Tron disc of
Discs of Tron,
Discs of
and it's the environmental one that you get inside. Have y'all played this game?
So I've seen it, so I can't say that I've played
So
it.
now I'm sitting here thinking like, holy crap, maybe I haven't played this game.
This is one that I thought that air blew at you or something happened
No.
inside of it. I know it was something inside of it.
But Dark Escape 3D,
Yeah.
the air blows on the back of your neck, and it poofs in your face, and something jumps up on the screen, and you're wearing 3D glasses, and the mounted gun shake. To me,
Heart
it's,
rate sensor.
with a heart rate sensor on it. It's a Dark Escape 4D. Put 3D there, but it's Dark Escape 4D. We have one here, and to me, it is the best environmental cabinet experience of any of these games. And I would put it 1 with a dot if we're going for an environmental cabinet. But the precursor to all this was Disc of Tron, and thank God, Cidercade had one of these.
Whoa.
And we drove over and played it, and it is amazing. It has that periscope effect with the dual mirror thing, so you get a little depth there.
Backdrop.
And you're playing, the part where he's playing with the disc
Yeah.
and trying to take out. You play that, but the sound in it is amazing. It's behind you, it's in front of you. It's kind of got this full 360 stereo sound
Very
feel
awesome.
to it. It weighs 730 pounds, so it's got that.
It's got that going for it. Which
There's a story recently. Someone found one of these on a curb. Just picked it right up.
Jesus.
Free 30, buddy. It was free on a curb. That's a pretty cool story.
I don't know if they just picked it right up,
Yeah.
but they probably got it.
Somebody stood by it holding guard until they got a forklift to get this thing. Really cool game. I could see it being number 1. You guys disagree, correct?
I mean, only because I haven't played
maybe
it or
haven't played it,
experienced it.
It's really cool, and I would
sound
love it. It's got a
design sounds
giant translite back glass in the back of him reaching up. It's really neat. Bally Midway, a lot of these got cut in half. They didn't fit, and so a lot of Discotrons you'll find are upright now because the whole back half, and you kind of leaned against the back wall. So really, really cool game. I think it's worthy of that, but not really my number 1. Have y'all ever heard of the Sega R360?
No.
Okay, well, The Sega R360 is this giant disc thing that you set in.
Wow.
And I think you could put different games in it. I think Radmobile was in it, but G-Lock, Air Battle, and Wing War, whereas a couple of these other ones. And this one, you needed an attendant to work it because it actually rotated and moved in multiple ways.
You have to have a seatbelt on this stuff.
Look at
to
this.
get thrown
Oh,
out?
yeah, roll. I mean, it would go upside down. So this was the Vomitron, is what I would call this thing.
Man.
So it rotates and moves, and I mean, look at that.
Oh,
Yeah,
good
this looks
night.
like an experience. You know, when you are training to be an astronaut, like something
Yeah.
they would put you in to
It
train to be an
definitely looks
astronaut.
A gyroscope. Like
Yeah, gyroscope. Yeah, it had 360 movement, and I mean all different directions. So really, really cool. There's one in operation at Galloping Ghost. I don't know that. I think you may have to have a. You may have to be a YouTuber or something.
Sign a waiver.
Yeah, and you may. I don't even know that it's open to the public. I think it's like a backroom thing. So
I think I'll.
I'm not positive, but
Next time I go to Chicago, I think I'm gonna go check that out.
Doc Mac, go talk to Doc Mac and say, man, I seen your video. I want to get in that R360.
Yeah, let me in there, buddy.
It does look like you might have to sign a waiver. So really cool, though, to see this game in action. So anyway, that's kind of my list. Anyone got anything else on Environmental Discotron?
Not anything on that one. I got
No,
two
no,
more
no.
honorable mentions that
All right.
arcades I like.
Hit me.
They're not amazing, but I've had fun with them. What, Tubin? You ever-
Tubin. Tubin's great.
Who doesn't like
It's got a
Tubins?
great marquee.
Good cabinet with
Yeah.
the little, you're right, the marquee. Good point with the scrolling marquee.
And then what was really big in the 90s, and I saw people on this all the time, so let's just talk about a cab that was never empty, and it was on almost every single bar. Golden Tea.
Golden Tea.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a classic.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely not. Like I said,
been on
that
there.
cab,
Should have been on that list.
Yeah, I mean, where could you go that you didn't see Golden Tea?
It was
in every
everywhere.
movie theater. It was like the
Show-
brother of Street Fighter.
Show up
You
at,
know,
like,
they were
random
everywhere.
restaurant. She'd go into like a restaurant and be like, "Hey, freaking Golden Tea." Like, all right, well,
And it was the first time I actually saw older people in the arcade playing games too.
that's one of the first arcade games I
Yes.
remember hearing about being connected internet wise and like high scores and all that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, I love it, guys. Well, I'll tell you what. Due to this podcast being long, we go through 50 cabinets, we're going to stop it right there, guys. And I want you to tune in for the next podcast. So let's hit that really quick.
Yep.
We're going to have our Hot Ones podcast. Now, I hope we don't get sued online by
This is what they want.
what's that?
This is what they want you to do.
Watch Hot Ones because it'll be better than us,
Yeah.
I'm sure. But what is it? First We Feast.
First
So
We
shout out to First We Feast. We're going to get to know Trevino and get to know
Gosh.
a little bit more about Rome. We're going to ask each other's questions and eat these incredible hot wings. And that's kind of where we're going. So any closing thoughts there, my friend?
Oh no, man, we really dove into that list. I thought we might, and
we did. It got longer than I thought too.
But
so.
I liked it. I liked it a lot, and thanks for having me on the show. And I look forward to next week.
Always. You're my new left hand man here. So, Roman, anything?
Nothing. Just there's tons of cabs out there. We'd love to hear what your favorites are. It doesn't have to be what's on this list. So put in the comments anything that we left out.
God, I feel like
Anything
if
you'd
we
to
left
talk
anything out at this point,
Yeah.
it better be
Yeah, I know.
amazing if you're putting in comments. But yes, I
we would
agree
love to
with
see
you.
that.
Yeah, your opinion is what we care about here, guys. So tell us we're wrong. We love it. Tell us we're right. We really love it.
Yeah.
So tell us about those cabinets that you played. You just walked in, you were blown away when you seen, because it's all about that nostalgic feel. So that's all I got. Mike Wood signing out.
Roman Saldivar saying, let's play games.
Let's play games.
Mike Trevino. I'll see you next time.
All right, we'll see you on the next one.